Broadly speaking, the healthcare sector is working. As you know, with Obamacare, all of the subsectors had to give up a little bit of the pound of flesh. Managed care, huge fees and taxes, pharma tax, so there was a device tax. Even the hospitals had to get some budget cuts on servicing the uninsured. So you're seeing the sector responding to that, and then potentially after that, it paves the path for broader corporate tax reform, and the services space is heavily domestically.
So, but how are you handicapping what's happening in Washington and how that's going to impact these stocks?
Oh, well, I think the space has moved up, broadly speaking, all of it. Managed care and hospitals, even of late in the last 2 to 3 weeks, have rallied on the potential of the Senate bill. So, I do think the Senate bill is going to go through.
The hospitals uniformly hate it. We had Toby Cosgrove from the Cleveland Clinic here today, and the hospitals all say they hate this bill because there's going to be more uninsured people. They're not going to be paid. Why do you think it's good for the stocks?
The publicly...
Consolidation?
It's a fair point. Well, Toby Cosgrove is probably representing the Cleveland Clinic point of view, and that's more broadly speaking. It's a not-for-profit, publicly funded sector. The names that are publicly traded, HCA, Tenet in particular, have not had exposure to states that expanded Medicaid. So that was a big piece of it.
And the other part of it is this could put a lot of pressure on rural hospitals. You could see hospitals go out of business, see places shut down, which leads open either other places to buy some of those hospitals or at least to have less competition.
That's fair. The rural hospitals could see some pressure. There, too, I do think there's a survival of fittest trade that's going on. I upgraded HCA, Tenet, and LifePoint like 3 weeks ago, and all the stocks have been slowly moving up. They also get a bit of a break in that, as I just said, starting 2018, they will get a reversal of those budget reductions that they saw.
What wouldn't you touch right now?
I think the PBMs are under pressure.
The
PBMs, the pharmacy benefits managers. You are beginning to see some value money stepping in, even into Express Scripts and CVS. But I think the fundamentals are pretty challenged, and managed care is taking share from them. Optum with United Health, or names like Anthem are recontracting with Express Scripts and expanding their margins.
Meaning that they're kind of middlemen in this business.
Yes.
And middlemen are going to get potentially washed out when...
Middlemen when it's a commoditized service. Pharmacy benefits managers are more commoditized. I think managed care at this point, they saw a lot of margin compression 5-7 years ago. And now I believe there's bipartisan support that they're adding value with whatever they're making.
You said you assume that the bill's going to pass. What if it doesn't?
I think there will be a bit of a sell-off, when you kind of reposition back to the fundamentals. I think fundamental sectors like managed care will still be in a great place. The pharma industry really depends. They're innovators, so it doesn't really fall that much on the Senate bill. But initially, I do think you'll see a bit of a sell-off. One sector that might buck the trend a little, it's a small subsector piece of what I cover, Centene, Molina. They do have real pressure from this bill in the medium term because the Medicaid cuts are
Why do you think the bill goes through, just so I understand?
It's par for the course, in my view. And you saw with Obamacare, there's always a bit of negotiation that happens. The CBO score was okay. 22 million new uninsured versus 23. It's very controversial whether it's really 22 to begin with. The CMS actuary had come up with 13. The deficit reduction was 320 billion. So I think they have something close to 200 billion to negotiate and bring a couple of the moderates on board. I really don't think they have a choice. Now, I'm not a policy analyst, but I would be surprised if they didn't finally make something go through.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.